Making headlines tonight, businesses told to be prepared for what the Prime Minister has called the season to build. The need for continuous health care funding underscored by the Prime Minister. The estates at St. George nearing completion. And coming up in sports, an historic upset by Saudi Arabia over World Cup giants Argentina today in Qatar.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Shane Jones, leading the news at 7. Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley has called on Barbadians to make a big push to boost productivity in what she's calling the season to build. Ms. Motley received a standing ovation after delivering the feature address at the Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry's Business Luncheon and Discussion Forum at the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre. There was standing room only at the LESC as scores of businessmen and women, some ministers, and major players from both the private and public sectors turned out to hear the Prime Minister's address. Likening Barbados to a vehicle, Prime Minister Motley said the time has come to stop driving on fumes and operate the country on a full tank of gas. The leader, who was named a champion for global change earlier this month by the United Nations, made a rallying call for discipline, thinking outside of the box and recreating.
The big push has now to come, and it's understandable because over the course of the COVID, who took the greatest hit? It was the private sector. And government was able to flex itself and to provide its girth to help the country get through a difficult moment. But if we are now to pursue growth aggressively, then it means that we have to be able to double investment from the private sector, from just under $1 billion to where it is now, to $2 billion, and that's domestic private investment, and boost foreign investment also to about $500–600 million in terms of foreign direct investment.
In presenting her vision for the way forward, the Prime Minister said Barbados must attract major global companies to set up their headquarters here.
Gildan has over almost 400 people employed in this country, competing with Governor Haynes at the central bank for staff, not having its corporate headquarters here, but running its corporate operations from here in finance, in marketing, in IT, and in a number of areas. Barbados must be that country through its combined attraction in quality of life, taxation, investment confidence, access to the rule of law, that is prepared to get at least 5 major global or regional headquarters here in the next 3 years that will allow us to be able to create opportunities for Barbadians for other types of high value added work, while at the same time boosting our numbers.
Ms. Motley admitted there were some major challenges to Barbados' productivity, highlighting climate change, chronic non-communicable diseases leading to high levels of sick leave and crime. She introduced an issue she calls COVID comatose, a phenomenon when people find it hard to get back to intense work post-pandemic.
Y'all may think I'm joking, but I'm not. The biggest problem is to get everybody back fully at work and working 120%, because this country will not make it unless we put in that effort. The truth is that people have choices as to where to go, where to invest, and how to do business. And us collectively here and across this country have to make the determination that we want to be able to be that place where people can conduct business from here with the rest of the world and conduct business here for the benefit of Barbadians in order for us to be able to continue to improve our quality of life. COVID comatose cannot go into 2023, either in the public or the private sector.
Prime Minister Motley will meet with the Chamber for more consultations in early December. Meanwhile, we are hearing the Barbados government is about to roll out a new initiative that has the ability to land Barbadian students lucrative job opportunities. This was revealed by Prime Minister Motley during that BCCI address.
Student Revolving Loan Fund will be announcing to the country very shortly a program starting with the first 200 persons to be trained in cybersecurity and to be able to get global jobs after the 4 to 6 month training program that the Student Revolving Loan Fund will facilitate. It is intended to train 1,500 people in the next 18 months, and the job starting will be at a minimum of 60,000 Canadian a year per student who succeeds in being able to land a job. So these are real opportunities, global jobs, but living in Barbados.
During his remarks, BCCI President Anthony Branker said too many of our youth are leaving school without a meaningful future in sight. He stressed Barbados must be willing to direct underachieving school leavers to a mandatory residential program of discipline and skills training.
This is not a task government can undertake alone. Rather, all Barbadians at the individual and corporate level must be willing to invest in such a program to save this our fair land. The Chamber looks forward to lending its expertise and, to the extent possible, stand ready to partner with government and civil society actors.
The need for continuous funding for health care to ensure access for all has been underscored by Prime Minister Mia Amor-Motley. At the same time, she has also made a call for the urgent establishment of a Caribbean calorie counter to help Barbados and the rest of the region's people be more aware about the number of calories they are consuming in their favorite foods on a daily basis. The Prime Minister made as she addressed the Pan American Health Organization's 120th anniversary cocktail reception at the Hilton Barbados last night. Ryan Broom has more.
My friend,
in a speech that touched on a range of key areas, Prime Minister Motley said the institutional capacity of PAHO to deliver to our people and our region is fundamental to our existence if we are able to succeed. Reflecting on how what we eat impacts the level of chronic non-communicable diseases on the island and the region, she says being able to gauge the number of calories being consumed is critical.
How many people in here know the amount of calories in breadfruit cuckoo? How many people in here know the calories in meal cuckoo? How many people in here know the calories in oil down? How many people in here know the calories in green banana cuckoo? So that if we are going to literally ask our citizens to partner with us, then between our industrialists and the University of the West Indies, and I would humbly suggest, ma'am, the Pan American Health Organization, that we need to ensure that another 12 months does not pass without us giving our people access to the information so that they may make informed choices about Caribbean food. And
Prime Minister Motley adds that citizens must partner with the state to foster best health practices, just as the state partners with entities like PAHO to utilize their expertise and resources to benefit the people. In this regard, she says funding continues to be critical, noting that Barbados has re-engaged with the WHO on a paused initiative to bolster the health ministry's expertise on healthcare financing.
Funding at the international level, that is why we speak to the need for not only countries contributing and not only having the World Bank have as its goal the reduction of poverty, but also the creation of a global common goods. And there can be no global common goods that does not speak to health care for all and the minimization or reduction of public health threats. It therefore means that the world has to be innovative in the same way that it has chosen yesterday to be innovative with the establishment of a loss and damage fund for climate. And the recognition, therefore, that if we are going to ensure that everyone, everywhere can get the benefit of health care, then there must be the global common goods managed by a global entity.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Motley says she also wants to see the scope of community mental health care services broadened to include more training where necessary. She says this is especially so given the significant impact COVID has had on people's mental health over the past 2.5 years.
We have a duty now not only to have the Mental Health Commission launched and the instruments are being signed for those, but also to expand our community mental health programs, and secondly, to ensure that something as basic as a call hotline for people who need somebody to talk to because they don't have anybody to talk with
that be available to persons to help them get through this.
Ryan Broom, CBC News.
Also addressing the gathering was Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne. She said it is her hope the public trust can be rebuilt in the Caribbean as far as vaccination is concerned.
Traditionally, as we've said before, the Caribbean has been a leader in vaccine coverage. Now, as we move forward in, I don't know if it's post-pandemic or just pre-post-pandemic era, there is much to be done to restore our economies, to rebuild our societies, in addition to the transformation of health systems to guarantee equity and universal access and coverage, as we build resilience for sustainable development.
Despite some challenges experienced at the island's main healthcare institution, the Queen Elizabeth Hospital continues to fulfill its mandate of delivering high-quality healthcare service to Barbadians. The assessment comes from Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Dr. Sonia Brown, while updating CBC News on the operations and improvements at the QEH. Minister Brown explained that long wait times in the Accident and Emergency Department were due to a number of factors, including bed availability and doctors awaiting lab test results. Dr. Brown described the implementation of a bed management system which improved the efficiency of patients being admitted and discharged from wards. This is credited as one of the factors which shortened the wait times in the department. The minister then provided some insight into the hospital's future plans to improve the situation.
We're looking at issues with staffing. So it might get to a point where we need a couple more doctors, a few more nurses to fill in these spaces where we see a delay. We are consulting with another institution abroad to see, and the doctors know where the shortfalls are, to see how we can make it more efficient. Yeah. So there are issues like that. We need to sort out the wait times. There's no hiding on that. We need to delve into it, and we're doing that right now.
Minister Brown also revealed that the backlog of cataract surgeries has been reduced by 60%. She explained how the hospital achieved these results despite the roof of the Lions Eye Care Center requiring repairs.
So we made a plan basically to use other theaters along with a small one that they have, other theaters to get the backlog addressed. So the doctors basically came together and the consultants and so on and decided this is how we will tackle it. We provided the equipment, they decided on the schedule, and they were tackling at least 80 per month. The nurses were put in place, and you know we had nurses coming in to improve the complement of nurses generally in healthcare. The nurses were put in service, and we were able to tackle it from that point of view. We will looking to repair the Lions Eye Care Clinic.
With Independence Day just over a week away, Barbadians are already making their plans for the big day and also choosing activities to attend leading up to November 30th. As you know, a number of events have been planned as part of the celebrations, and the National Cultural Foundation has been instrumental in either the production of them or working in collaboration to bring them to life. Joining us now with an update on these events live is NCF CEO Carol Roberts-Reefer. Good evening, CEO. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Shane Jones. Good night, Barbados. Hope everyone is well.
Yep, good night. Now I know about the Independence Concert, which I'm personally excited about, and a number of other events. Can you bring us up to date with how plans are coming?
Yes, well, before we get to the concert, let us start with the 26th of November, which is Saturday coming. We are partnering with the Barbados National Archives and the Division of Culture to produce a genealogy marketplace, which will start at just around 9:30 at the National Archives head offices at the Lazaretto in Blackrock. You could go there and trace your family tree. You can go there for a genealogy workshop. I am particularly interested in going to see the Independence exhibition, which will be a fascinating display of a lot of the documents and artifacts and symbols of our independence that we generally take for granted or don't know enough about. So, for example, the letter that was sent from Buckingham Palace to then Premier and then Errol Walton Barrow will be on display along with a number of other artifacts. There will be heritage games, there will be films, there will be talks on genealogy and heritage from the likes of Dr. Trevor Marshall, and of course, what's a Saturday without good old Bajan food? We're also expecting the Ghanaian community to come out and participate with their fashion, their dances, and hopefully their food. So that's on Saturday. On Sunday, it's time to give thanks and praises at the National Service of Thanksgiving that will take place at the Garfield Sobers Gymnasium from 10 o'clock in the morning. It is a multi-faith service and it is open in part to the public. You do not require an invitation. You just need to get to the gymnasium and be seated by 9:15 for the start of what promises to be a rousing, deeply moving, and very spiritual experience at the National Service of Thanksgiving. Garfield Sobers Gymnasium on Sunday, the 27th. And then comes the big day, our 56th anniversary of independence. And from 8 o'clock in the morning, there will be activity, Shane. 8 o'clock will be the prompt start of the ceremonial parade, conferral of national honors, presentation of leadership badges, and cultural presentation. And this will take place as it did in 2019 at Kensington Oval. Starts at 8 o'clock. It's free to the public, but you must have a ticket for admission just so that we can manage the flow of people and the numbers expected to flock to Kensington Oval. We're expecting between 3,000 to 5,000 school children in uniform to be in attendance, just about 900 uniform officers and members of the unarmed units in the parade. And then we will have a cultural presentation featuring the mass band of the Barbados Police Service and the Barbados Defence Force and a special Tuk and a steel orchestra. That is, and then of course the parade will march through town and the Prime Minister, accompanied by her cabinet, will receive the national salute in National Hero Square. Of course, the President, Her Excellency, the Most Honourable Dame Sandra Mason, will be presiding over the ceremonial parade and also will be conferring the national honours on deserving Barbadians, and then a cadre of senior civil servants, members of cabinet, and others will present the head boys and head girls of all public and private, primary and secondary schools with their leadership badges. Then we move on to 6 o'clock in the evening of Independence Day, and that will be the inaugural Independence Concert. And I had to actually write down the names of the artists who will be performing. First of all, we're going to debut our New Look Barbados Youth Orchestra. And it's new look because we've added Tuk and steel instruments for the first time ever, and they will be giving a scintillating performance that will start at 6. We've also put together a 100-voice folk choir directed by Ryan Boyce. Wow. We have a corps of independence dancers and an independence folk troupe. And then we have the Independence Band led by Darian Bailey, featuring the likes of Nicholas Branker at some points throughout their performances. And now you can start counting. Alan Shepard, Alex Cage, Biggie Irie, Bruce Almighty, Brutal Crankstar, Carol George, Edwin Yearwood, Hyper Sounds. We also have some youngsters from NIFCA and the Junior Monarch competition from this year, so Joshua Osborne. We also got veterans like Shirley Stewart, Keisha Christian, Lead Pipe and Sadis, Lil Rick, Lil Stathis, Maya Sobers, who thrilled everyone, either in attendance at Kensington Oval for the Humanitarian Awards on Sunday or watching it on stream. Doctor of the Most Honourable Anthony Gabby Carter, Mole, and this is not in this order, Peter Ram, Renice Bonnet, Rupi, Red Plastic Bag, Shem White, Shantae, and TC, Wendy Aline, Mikey, Sunrock, Kwan, Harmony Haynes, and others. And we're adding artists as we speak. And that will be a fantastic concert that traces our history in song and dance. And as I said, it starts at 6 o'clock. And throughout the course of the remaining days, Shane will be sending you information, and also others will be coming to tell you more about the concert, the service, and the genealogy marketplace, but also some very detailed specifics for things like park and ride, special bus services, special parking areas, road traffic changes, all of that in the coming days.
Thank you so much for updating us, Carol, and I'm very excited about the concert and hearing Maya Sobers. Thank you so much. That was NCF CEO Carol.
You're most welcome.
We're back after the break with more news. The United Kingdom's High Commissioner to Barbados, Scott Furstenwood, is confident that the development of trade and investment links between Barbados and Scotland will benefit Barbadians. He gave this assessment as he addressed the Invest Barbados-Scotland Trade and Investment Mission to Barbados. Mr. Furstenwood believes Prime Minister Mia Amor-Mottley's global leadership increased the opportunities available for trade and investment between the two nations, as well as the mutual benefits to be derived.
The Prime Minister of Barbados and her government have a clear and impressive vision for the future of this country. You have a Prime Minister in Barbados who is striding the world stage, an agent for change internationally, bringing about extraordinary changes in the way we think about issues like climate change, how we think about finance for developing states, how we think indeed about the whole post-war financial architecture, the institutions that shape our world. Prime Minister Mia Mottley is at the forefront of efforts to change and reform those so that they serve the needs of here and now and the future.
Managers of the estates at St. George project are reporting that it is 95% completed. This phase of the project costs $21 million. Wendy Burke had a tour of the buildings and an update on the construction.
The project, which has 88 residential units in Phase 1, are at 95% completion, with the end of the year expected to be the target date for delivery.
We have the commercial center, the clubhouse, swimming pool, the back house facility. We are expecting to complete by mid-December this Phase 1, the whole community for Phase 1. Of the 88 units, we are, I would say, 95%, between 90 to 100%, but we're somewhere in 95% range, I would say, at this time. It's just a lot of finishing work now going on at this stage.
The sale of the units is also going well, with many people opting for the values.
We have 61 units so far reserved, reservations for 61 units. So we are hopeful that we can get some more of them sold between now and year end. Sales have, they go through stages of sales, obviously, and now that people have seen the development really taking off, we're getting a lot more interest again.
The prospective buyers are a range of professionals and also retirees. While some are using it as an investment, many like the lifestyle and will live there, especially given the amenities available.
In the commercial center, we have a coffee shop, Cafe Italia. We have a iMart pharmacy and Mini Mart. And we have Urgent Care Mobile, who they're moving their main operations to this community. They will all be operational certainly by New Year. We would expect the Urgent Care and iMart to be operational by then. They're doing the finishing touches right now. The coffee shop will be a little later because that is being outfitted at this stage. On the floor upstairs, we have one prospective tenant being a spa. And we still have space there available for rent for other things that sort of align with how the community, the sort of lifestyle we want at the community.
The estates promote a healthy and active lifestyle with its own gym, but will also cater to leisure activities with a restaurant and pub and open areas where residents can have games and gatherings. While a number of buyers are Sagicor clients, there's also foreign interest, and there's a hope the upcoming tourist season could generate more. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Thanks, Wendy. More development is on the cards for the area in the vicinity of the Garfield Sobers Sports Complex. This as the lower house today debated a resolution to lease 25,000 square feet of land to Rotary Inclusive Play Trust for the development of recreational facilities for children with disabilities. Leading off the debate, Housing Minister Dwight Sutherland noted the process for the lease started a few years ago and it was originally intended for the Rotary Club of Barbados South, but an amendment was needed.
During the preparation of the formal lease to the Rotary Club of Barbados South, and hence that's why we have to rescind the decision, it was recognized that there was no registration for the Rotary Club of Barbados South. When the Ministry of Lands and Rural Development at the time went to prepare the lease, they found out that there was no organization registered named the Rotary Club of Barbados South. But there was an entity named the Rotary Inclusive Play Trust. And hence, if we had left what transpired in 2015, we would have been misleading not only the Lord Chamber, but the public of Barbados. Hence, the request to do it as a cognate debate. It's the same land, it's the same place. It's just the Rotary Club of Barbados South is not a registered organization.
People Empowerment Minister Kirk Humphrey says more needs to be done to level the playing field for people with disabilities in Barbados and the Caribbean. He says there are several shortcomings in a number of sectors, and he contends the solutions include injecting more money, encouraging behavioral change, and increasing awareness. He gave an example to illustrate how seemingly simple things can have a significant impact on people with disabilities.
Many of us like to say we've addressed disabilities, sir, because we've addressed persons who are in wheelchairs. And we haven't addressed, sir, people who may have cognitive issues, other mental issues, sensory issues, sir. There is a young man, I think I spoke of him, sir, one night. He told me, he asked me if I drive with my lights on, my bright lights on. It was a day we were at the swimming pool, sir, for children with autism. And he asked me if I drive with my bright lights on. And I said, no, not really. He said he doesn't like the bright lights. The conversation actually began by him telling me that he was tired. He was so tired he hadn't slept. And I asked him why he didn't sleep. And then we had the conversation about the lights. He said, do you drive with your lights on? Your bright lights? I said, no. He said, I don't like the bright lights. I said, well, I don't understand. He said, the bright lights, sir, when I am home in my bed last night, all I could see were the lights. And I got no sleep.
At least 2 providers of electric and/or hybrid vehicles on island believe more concessions and incentives are needed to drive the sector and encourage a greater buy-in from the public. Sales Director at NASCO Limited, Roger Moore, says anything to make prices more competitive is welcomed. Since the provision of some concessions for the hybrid vehicles, he revealed there's more interest from Barbadians. His comments came during a webinar on electric vehicles hosted by the Ministry of Energy.
Effective the 1st of August, some concessions were given then on hybrid vehicles, even though it was not as much as what was given on the EV vehicles, very small already in comparison with that. But we were thankful nevertheless because customers at least saved a couple of dollars. And since then, we have seen the sales of hybrid vehicles going very, very well. We sold about 25 hybrid vehicles between August and September because a lot of customers were waiting to see what relief they would have gotten.
In an apparent first, the regionally manufactured United States Department of Agriculture certified organic chocolate brand is now available in Barbados. The organic Ocho candy, a former U.S.-based confectionery company, has now been acquired by Associated Brands Industries Limited. However, the brand is being distributed in Barbados by their subsidiary, Confectionery and Snacks Barbados Limited. Sharima Hamilton is the marketing assistant for CNS Barbados Limited. She explains what makes it so unique.
The Ocho chocolate is the first and only high-quality organic chocolate in the region. So that's what makes it exceptional. The taste is really good. The products that are in it are even better. It's better for you and it's better for the environment. I know when people think of organic, they necessarily think that it may taste like earthy or green, but this taste is actually a very good taste, and it is made with ingredients that are no artificial preservatives, no pesticides, no genetically modified hormones. So all the ingredients that are in the products are all natural ingredients.
Time for the second half in sports. Now we welcome back Damien.
Yeah, thanks so much, Shane. Stuart Maloney in his Skoda Fabia Rally 2 Evo is the winner of the island's first ever National Motorsport Series, the R5 Rally Championship presented by First Citizens, which was settled during the all-new Ultra Fest at the Bushy Park Circuit in St. Philip. Maloney totaled 298 points ahead of Josh Reed in second in his Ford Fiesta R5 and third Roger Hill in his Skoda Fabia R5. Both amassed 186 points, but Reed took second by virtue of more first places. We have some of the action from Ultrafest. Drivers from the Turks and Caicos Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica and the United Kingdom joining the local boys for Ultrafest 2022. As you can see, a wide range of machinery on tap for this rally sprint. First matchup between Christian Hospitalis and the number 247 car of Ronald Waltman. This was an excellent way to start, a quick drag over 100 meters. Then it was a matter of navigating the twists and turns of the circuit. Hospitalis held the advantage in the first lap, which took him over the Preconco Bridge. But later on in the race, once the tables turned, it was Walton who had his eyes on reaching the checkered flag first. Side by side, they would eventually duke it out until the number 33 car opened a gap to take the win quite comfortably. Skip ahead, the Toyota Starlet now of Mark Maloney certainly turned a few heads. He was paired with Alan Kinch in the BMW closest to the screen. Once the lights went out, Mark left the start line in a hurry with Kinch stalled. Just listen to the notes. So this one was over before the second lap. Once Maloney kept the machine on the track, no worries with the assignment. His winning time during the first round of qualifying put him in good stead to challenge the big boys. On to the four-wheel drive machines. Dane Skeet in the Subaru WRC S12B paired with Josh Reed in the Ford Fiesta R5. Vital points at stake for Reed at Ultrafest, with second place in the R5 Championship on offer. Skeet was very methodical on the first lap, especially through the tricky parts of the course under the Preconco Bridge. Not for the faint of heart if you're hunting for a good time driving a beast. So with Reed out front, it was all up to Skeet to make sure his second pass around the circuit was good enough to haul in his challenger. Once the two drivers got side by side, the equation was simple. Can an R5 beat a Subaru WRC S12B? Let's watch and see. Out of the sweeping left-hander to the finish is Skeet to take the checkered flag. And finally, on our highlight reel, Jamaican Jeffrey Panton versus Rob Swan, closest to the screen, both driving Ford Fiesta Rally 2s. The way Panton attacked the circuit, it was obvious his machine had more juice, or Swan was up for a scenic ride. Well, as the race progressed, Swan would eventually invest in more throttle and close the gap to about 2 car lengths. However, the damage was already done, and Panton cruised across the line to take the win. Loads of entertainment at Ultrafest 2022.
That's our news. Good night and be good. Thanks for visiting us. To get more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.